and prepare.
I tell you what I don't understand, Mark, is they're putting this equipment all over the place and leaving it. Why the hell aren't we taking it out? Why don't we leave it sit there intact for them to use against us later?
Well, the problem is, number one, the idea is whether or not any particular system or piece of equipment, with regard to a lot of what we're seeing is actually part of a deployment. Some of the stuff they're showing is movement that takes place all the time, which can't be confirmed to either be part of Jade Patriot or not. I will say that. I've repeated that several times. That, when we've seen stuff, example is some of the pictures and imagery that we have not gotten full confirmation on is suspect or in question because it's awful darn convenient that the license plate and the data on the license plate got covered up every time. If you watch a little photo essay, and if there was a Walmart truck, or a guy going to Walmart, a truck driver who's a hauler for military equipment, and somebody had a little photo essay in their camera from 4 years ago, well, everything you need is in the camera or in the phone to crop and modify everything and then tell everybody a story. And I've pointed this out. This is why the sit rep, who, what, where, when, what were they doing, what were you doing? I'll tell you the difference between what I am seeing and our imagery. And I'll give you an example. When we found the trains, we were hunting for the prison trains back in the 90s. And one of the guys, a retired major, was up in the Washington State border area of Canada. And he was tracking down sightings, and the first thing he did is he went to satellite reference. Then he went out in the middle of nowhere. Sure enough, here are all these flatbed cars, and they're building them up with frames. And what they were doing for metal guys, so it was completely off the grid, is they were taking existing military trailers, transport boxes, cutting them out at the corners, making them into flat pieces of metal, and filling in the difference, but assembling these things like patchwork leather baggage. Now, what did the guy do? Did he do some nebulous picture with weird, poorly centered imagery where all the numbers conveniently are like off the screen or not quite clear enough and amazingly enough with digital imagery or foggy? Here's the thing. Using a 35 millimeter camera, the first thing that he did, which I've told all of you to do, is he took light pictures of every number that could be found. The numbers on the wheel carriages, the numbers on the side of the trailer of the cars, the flatbeds that had not been repainted, the numbers on all of the fixtures. Then we demonstrated, because he took a faraway picture, mid-distance picture, and then a close-up showing the little green. Every military vehicle has a little black and silver ID tag that gives all the nomenclature, the weight, the wheelbase, and what the vehicle is by nomenclature. In other words, XM or M, 416, or M2 or M95 or whatever. Well, they were so lazy they didn't even take those off of the sheet metal. They just cut it to size, and these prison cars were fabricated from existing stock. Okay? Now, by taking all the numbers down, we were able to track where these things came from. The trundles were actually part of a military defense contract, because we had the numbers there, and guys who were railroad aficionados tracked down the carriages. We found out that the flatbed numbers for the car, well, they were XM, and they were all military numbers. They were part of originally part of a missile program that was canceled, and lo and behold, they had all these flatbed trailers for all of this ordnance. Well, they were wheeling them out to a lumberjack, like a lumbering siding out in the middle of nowhere, right on the edge of Canada, and one of them was 9 miles inside Canada. And they were assembling dozens and then hundreds of these things out in the middle of BFE. Now again, how the report was done, his imagery was all done with 35 millimeter camera, and every number was centered and every number was focused, and that was without digital cameras. You see what I mean? Here's the problem I've got with this, is that, there should, for instance, the trucks that they're showing, guys, when you're driving down the road, look at the side of a semi-truck when it's going down the expressway. Look on the side panel where the door is. look at the hull back to the side of the door, and you'll see a whole bunch of other numbers. Now, every truck driver going down the road knows what those numbers are and knows who they belong to. And if you look at a lot of these pictures, Larry, this is what pisses me off, guys. That's why I put a question mark next to a bunch of them. Those numbers are intentionally, digitally pixelized, obscured. Now, this is the age of camera technology where I can zoom in and I can focus on that pimple on your nose, that tiny one next to the hair follicle, and I could actually, count the pustule cells in there if I want to. I can keep breaking it down, especially with the new stuff. So when I see a general hard piece of evidence that is not focused on, and then I see all the rest of the co-evidence slid off the screen, that should be a big flag for everyone. In other words, example, that truck photo essay, every time they showed the ass end of that truck, it was cut off on the left or cut off on the right, and there was only one picture that was from a distance where there was kind of an image of it. Now, why did I want to see the license plate? I wanted to see the expiration date tag on the plate. You see why? Well, this is from Jade Helm. Really? Why is it I can't read the numbers on the side of that truck? Wouldn't you guys all want to know who's moving all this equipment, because won't they be witnesses? You see, and it's not that I don't say that's not happening. My problem is, remember that the other side has an entire counterintelligence or deflection group whose job it is to do just exactly that, and to stir the pot or create confusion. And if they can create greater fear in the population, in other words, whenever anybody does this is an example of how much they have and how strong they are. Do they really have that? Or is it something that they're perpetrating because it's part of the psychological warfare, MOS, for the psych warfare personnel, basic propaganda 101?